the rivalry is back on in the NFL. All right. It is back on.
This is awesome, by the way.
Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft. First things first, Robert Kraft, this was at Fanatics Fest a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking with Julian Edelman, and he was talking with Gronk on the Dudes on Dudes podcast, and they asked him, what was the biggest risk you took as Patriots owner? And Robert Kraft said this.
Well, the one that got questioned the most was in '99. I gave up a number 1 draft pick for a coach who had only won a little over 40% of his game to get him out from, I don't know if there are any Jet fans here, but I think getting Bill Belichick to come to the Patriots in 1999 was a big risk, and I got hammered in the Boston media, but I think he was with us for 24 years, and we did okay.
So that was Robert Kraft.
Hi, everybody. Harry Carey.
That was not Harry Carey. That was Robert
Very
Kraft.
Close. Very close, Chris.
That was Robert Kraft at Fanatics Fest talking about the risk he took in hiring Belichick.
So Bill heard it.
Yeah.
And probably his girlfriend heard it
and
let him know about it.
He reached out to Don Van Natta of ESPN and had the following to say, quote, "As I told Robert multiple times through the years, I took a big risk by taking the New England Patriots head coaching job. I already had an opportunity to be the coach of the New York Jets, but the ownership situation was unstable. I had been warned by multiple previous Patriots coaches as well as other members of other NFL organizations and the media that the New England job was going to come with many internal obstacles. I made it clear that we would have had changed the way the team was managed to regain the previously attained success. I appreciated Robert giving me the opportunity to make those changes and build a program that was consistent with my vision for a championship team." Belichick went on to say, "The Jets were a solid team after 3 years of rebuilding under Bill Parcells, which included an AFC championship game appearance in 1999. Meanwhile, the Patriots organization had dismantled their 96 AFC championship team and became one of the worst in the AFC. It didn't help that they were $10 million over the cap heading into my first season as head coach in 2000. Put that in your Robert Kraft Patriots pipe and smoke it. How about that?
I mean, that's a rebuttal, right? Like, let's all be. This is a different version of Bill Belichick than what we saw when he was with the New England Patriots. If this would have come up, he would have went with the old strategy of we're on to Cincinnati. He would have not addressed this. He wouldn't want to make it a distraction. He would have moved on to whatever's next question, not even got as fired up about it. I don't know what's changed in his life since he got to Chapel Hill.
You know what's changed.
I'm not sure what spiced him up a little bit.
You know what spiced him up.
I love this version of Bill Belichick.
You know
this is the best version of Bill Belichick we have seen yet. He's spicy. He's got a little fire to him. I like this. Like, he's firing back at an owner who, by the way, in all intents and purposes, is known, and you'll hear people talk about how cheap he is. And yet, Bill Belichick was able to make it work and be the most successful coach we've seen in the NFL. It's pretty ridiculous, I think, when you factor that in to consideration, and just his titles, too. He wasn't just a coach. He was managing the roster and everything else. And he took on a lot to be able to make that work and make it what it was. And yes, Tom Brady deserves credit, but he was a big part of that, too. So I look at it and say, man, I don't know why Robert Kraft keeps doing this. Like, keep trying to give himself credit. Is this so people can recognize him and push him to be nominated for the Hall of Fame? Is that what this is really about?
I'll say this. In the end, he is the owner of the team. He did make the decision. And if by chance he wasn't what he needed to be, I don't think that this team has the run that it has. And I just think that it goes without saying, but the fact that he says it maybe becomes maybe a tad bit of an issue. I think it is the idea of him wanting to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think that is something that's very important to him, and I think he keeps it front of mind to people that he played a major part in this New England Patriots, the franchise having the dynasty run that they did. I mean, there's no ducking or dodging that. That is reality. And here's the thing. All of them are so far removed from their success in that run that any of them really, to me, they're all bulletproof. Robert Kraft can talk all the mess he wants to talk. At the end of the day, he was the owner. Bill Belichick can talk all of the head he wants to talk because he was the head coach. Tom Brady can talk all the head he wants to talk about because he was the quarterback and the linchpin to all of it for them being able to have the success. Nobody's going to have any issues with them having any trash to talk about their time in New England. It's just going to be a conversation. So they can throw out whatever they want to throw out. But to your point, Q, the stepping out and being more outgoing and forthcoming with his feelings and different things like that, I think it's 100%. He said he brought his partner on to help him with his public image. Like, she was apparently, by his account, the reason why he did the book that he was doing interviews for and marketing and promoting. I can almost assure you, because the way his responses come off, they come off as someone who is aware of how things work in today's culture and society and how you respond, and he's doing it. It's guided. These are guided responses that he's having in the media, and I like it too because it humanizes him. But you also know that the partner is there, and well, she's legit. She's not just there to be there. She's actually helping guide and direct this.
So if you follow what has happened since they decided to part ways, there were some reports out there that maybe Robert Kraft got in the ear of the Falcons and talked them out of hiring Belichick. That stuff came out. There was the documentary that came out that Robert Kraft's production company put together that didn't really give Belichick the credit he deserved and painted him poorly. And you had players defend Belichick publicly against, no, that's not actually true. And Robert Kraft tried to backtrack and play nice. Then they did the toast at the Tom Brady roast on Netflix. And I think Belichick just played cool. I didn't think what Robert Kraft said was all that bad about, it took a big risk. I didn't think it was insulting at all. I think Belichick was just at the point, and he was like, man, if this guy says one more thing, I'm going in. I'm going in. You're not going to tell me who I am as a coach and how this was a big risk. Let me go ahead and break it all the way down, not only from where we were at and where I was and the job that I had, but how bad you were at managing the cap, managing the roster, and everything that came along with it before I came in and saved the day. I think it's fantastic. I love it.
Okay, but hold on. Pause there. Like, why do you feel like Robert Kraft needed to say what he said, how he said it?
I think he was...
Hold on. When someone... No, because this is what I'm trying to get back to, the root of all this, is if you're Robert Kraft, why do you need to say it was a risk? Just because of the situation? Because you traded a first-round draft pick? Or at that point in time, he didn't have the best win-loss record?
Because they asked him, what was the biggest risk you took as an owner?
But we feel like that was the biggest risk
he does.
Of all the things.
That's his flex.
Agents of Orca come to mind. That was a pretty big risk.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he was a big risk at the time.
That's a great point.
Tell me, a coach who's already been a head coach has close to a 500 record, right? For a team that Cleveland at that time was decent, but at that point in time, by the way, already had another head coaching job. So you're saying like there's a risk to it. Well, it's like he was already a head coach. Clearly someone else liked him too enough to be able to hire him with that win-loss record. So what was the risk? Trading a first-round pick? How many did you hit on before that anyway? And you weren't going to pay him in a second contract because you're cheap. So I go back and look at it and say, like, was this really the biggest risk you took? Really?
It's a flex. That's all it is. It's a flex. It's the most significant hire he's ever.
Brady does bring up a good point. The neon light that said massage that he walked through the doors to.
It's the most significant hire he's ever made.
Pretty ballsy.
And there's always going to be a way to try to play off of it. He could have said Tom Brady for what it's worth. Tom Brady was a late-round draft pick. He could have said that was a big risk. Who knows?
There is something to Robert Kraft trying to prove his worth because the guy's got 6 Super Bowls as an owner, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
But I don't think he's trying to prove his worth. I think it's framed. That's framed incorrectly. I think Robert Kraft sees himself as the architect of one of the greatest sports franchises in the history of sports, and he's going to remind you.
And reportedly, Robert Kraft was pissed off that Jerry Jones got in the Hall of Fame before him, and he's got double the Super Bowls and a longer sustained success than Jerry Jones has, and he's in, and Robert Kraft's not. And I do wonder if part of this is no. I deserve credit too. What about me? What about the job I did? And
if
that's why he's fighting
you guys
so hard
accomplished at that level, would you not remind people if they ask you? If you were asked a question, would you not in some way, form, or fashion, if it's related to football, if it's related to what you're doing with your team and your franchise that you own, you wouldn't remind people if you haven't been recognized for it yet?
I just don't feel like he needs to.
And you're probably right. But if you're in that situation, though.
Well, let me put it this way, too. I think you can do it without, like, sacrificing the relationship you have with that coach, because that's, in essence, what you're doing. It's like, it's chippy. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't need to take that shot, or you don't need to say, like, well, hey, I'm not going to discount Tom Brady being a risk because, yeah, he was a 6th-round pick, and we started him over a guy who was a 1st-round pick in Drew Bledsoe, who probably could have won Super Bowls too at that time, right? Well, I'm not going to say that because I've got a great relationship with Tom. Who do I not have a good relationship with? Bill Belichick. So why not then go on and take a shot at him and make that the biggest risk? When in reality, again, based on, you know, events we've seen that come out public, clearly not the biggest risk he's taking. But I just look at it and say, I don't think you need to take a shot at someone else to remind someone of the success that you've had. I think you can still explain to people how you've been successful. I mean, it could have been purchasing the team. You know, it could have been, hey, my initial decision to buy the New England Patriots and how hard it was to be able to build that up and then be able to find a way of you know, trading a 1st-round draft pick to get another head coach. There's other ways of phrasing it without looking like you're taking a shot at Bill Belichick. And I think that's why he responded like this.
I think they're all valid points that you guys are making. I think it still comes down ultimately, is he insecure? Does he have some insecurities? 100%. But in having those insecurities, does that man have more than enough firepower, whether people approve of it or not, to shoot what he wants to shoot at people when he wants to shoot it and how he wants to shoot it? The answer would be yes. Whether people take a step and see him as he's not as endearing or he's not as lovable or likable doing what he's doing, the bottom line is it's still Robert Kraft, the owner of one of the greatest franchises and one of the greatest runs in the history of sports and in the NFL and football. That's who he is. So, you know, whether for good or for bad, he shoots his shot when he feels like doing it.